So recently I told my family that I want a vacation home or a home overall away from civilization. I wanted to be out of the city. I just wanted to go somewhere that's probably in the middle of the forest. You have to drive far to get there, just to be alone. They thought I was weird and maybe even a little selfish. But if you're like me and you crave solitude and time alone, or if you're not like me and you're afraid of being alone or solitude, then this is the video for you, because I'll be talking a lot about that. Hi, I'm Kimani and welcome to my channel, Hauling This Together, where we talk about all things self-improvement, productivity, and organization. So if you're interested in any of those, I mean, they kind of tie in well together. If you're interested in any of those, then this might be the channel for you. So stick around, check out a few videos. I have playlists on my page. Find your jam, become a part of the family. I love to have you here. So yeah, my family thinks I'm weird and a little selfish because why the heck would I want to turn my phone off, even if it's just for like a vacational period, and go away from civilization? What if something happens to a family member and I need to know, like, what can I change about it? It sounds harsh, but like those were my questions. And I know we live in a world right now where everyone talks about having constant connection with each other, and while I love that too, I love my family, I love my friends, I love being close, I love being connected, I love things like physical touch and all of that. Those are my love languages. But at the same time, I also love my alone time. Like, I love solitude. Like right now I'm here alone filming this video and I'm at my happiest. I'm going to be excited when my partner comes home, of course, but for right now I'm enjoying me time and it is absolutely amazing. So yeah, we all love connection. We all feel like we need to be making more connections. But what if I told you that the key to true happiness is actually finding inner peace and being alone, being comfortable with being alone with yourself? Like, let that register for a minute. That's where true happiness begins, because everything else is just conditional. Like, I used to dread being alone. I used to live in a space where I was always surrounded by people. When I'm at my grandmother's, for example, I would always be surrounded by my extended family, and that was like the best time ever. And while I do enjoy those moments when it's all families, we all have our own bedrooms, but we want to be sleeping in one common space. While I do love those moments, I also, maybe even more so, enjoy time by myself. And I don't think that makes me selfish. I think it makes me a little bit more aware of what I need emotionally, mentally, physically, and every other alley. And it helps me to connect with my true self, my inner self, without all the confusion and clutter from everything else. Let me give you an example. Yesterday I was watching a movie, or there was a TV show, Only Murders in the Building. And one of the ladies said, people always leave, things always change. There's nothing in life that you can guarantee. And so if you find something or someone or somewhere that is your happiness or is your entire being, that's what your entire life surrounds. Whether that's your partner, your kids, or your home, or whatever it is, your job, what happens if and when you lose that or lose those things? There's no reason for you to be happy or to be here or to exist anymore. The only thing that you're left with at the end of the day, it sounds morbid, it sounds sad, it sounds dark, but is yourself. That's the only thing that you're guaranteed to have with you always, no matter what. And there's this quote that says, if you're alone with yourself and you're not having a good time, you're in bad company. And I'm like, I don't know, call me crazy, or maybe I'm just a little bit more evolved, but I like being alone. And I don't just mean being alone at home watching Netflix, but I like being in the quiet and just thinking, just journaling, just meditating, going out for a walk without my phone. I love a good podcast. I love to read while I walk, but sometimes I just want to admire nature and to reconnect with my inner self. And I don't think that makes me weird or selfish. And me saying I want to go away for a vacation, have a vacation home away, it's not like I'm going to live there forever and just cut off everybody and not talk to anybody else ever again. But sometimes I just need a week away from everything so that I can like realign with myself, or so that I can like detox from all the negativity. And I feel like that's a very healthy habit to have. I digress. Some of the most beneficial things that I have experienced during this whole journey of self-improvement has been while I was alone, whether alone with my thoughts, alone with myself, alone with God, whatever that alone means. 9 out of 10 of those experiences that are so transformational for me, they have been while I was alone. Being alone helps so much with self-awareness. Like, you are so distracted by everything that happens or is happening around you in your life that you don't even see it. Whether it's your phone having conversations that it just checks you out completely. You're not even certain what's going on in your surrounding, or worse, internally. Or you're so distracted by social media that you don't even know how you feel or think or what you believe on your own, because it's so influenced by others. Or it could be your friends or your teachers or your parents or whatever it is. But we are so receptive of everything around us that sometimes it doesn't even help us to realize what's going on with us. Sometimes, because we are so distracted by everything around us, we have pushed so many emotions and feelings and thoughts away, not dealing with them. And we're afraid of being alone because we're afraid that those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions will start resurfacing. And what do I do with it then when I realize I really was hurt by this person, or I really am angry about the situation, or I really am confused or scared, or whatever it is? Like, what do you do with it then? And that's the main reason why so many people prefer to be distracted or disconnected to their inner self, because they don't want to go through the discomfort of having to deal with these things that are uncomfortable. But in that discomfort is where you find awareness, is where you find growth. And so I'm sorry, but that's where I like to hang out. Also, I don't know, when I'm alone is sometimes when I'm at my most creative. Like, when I'm consuming content online, I don't get many inspiration of video ideas or whatever it is, anything that requires creativity. But let me go for a walk, my mind just clears up completely, and I have to get my notes app out and I'm recording all these thoughts that are just flooding in, like, wait, what happened? What happened? And so I love the solitude of that. I just love the quiet. It's just so relaxing, so calming. I don't know, I just feel recentered. This one is another like great reason or benefit of being alone. Reduce stress. Can you think about what it would feel like to be away from your husband and kids, or your wife and kids, for an extended period of time? Like, yes, you're gonna miss them, but maybe you can finally sleep, huh? Less stress. Can you imagine just one day, no work, no family to stress you, no friends to call to borrow money, like nothing like that, and you're just with yourself, with your thoughts, in nature, connecting with something higher and deeper and more powerful? Like, am I woo-woo? I don't know if I'm woo-woo or what, but that's like next level for me. I choose that any day, and that's why my phone is always on do not disturb. Like, don't disturb my peace. Not to mention that sometimes you just need some alone time, some solitude to yourself, in order to find personal insights and clarity about something that might be bugging you. So, some hard decision that you may need to make, some path that you may need to take and you're not sure if you should go left, right, or continue straight, or if you need to turn backwards. Saying that you're going to think about something or analyze something and then being around many other people, you're going to be distracted, and even though it might cross your mind a few times, you're not actively thinking about it. And so having that time to yourself, even if it's just 10 minutes, to just relax your mind, think about all the different aspects of whatever it is you need to think about, and just allowing your thoughts to come up, to listen to what you actually want and not just what you say you want or what you think people want you to want, if you get what I mean. But actually listening to your gut, listening to your intentions, being very intuitive about where you need to go or what you need to do, listening to God, because sometimes he's trying to talk to us and we're so distracted with everything else that's going on in our lives that we're not quiet enough to hear him talk. And so those are all the benefits I can think about right now for why it's important to be alone and why it's important to be comfortable being alone, so you don't feel like, okay, I'm alone and that's all I can think about right now, the fact that I'm alone and oh my gosh, there's nobody around me. But like, you don't need to be lonely if you're alone. I'm so happy I said that, because that brings me into the other point, which common misconceptions about being alone. Being alone does not mean that you are selfish. It just means that it can never, and if you take nothing else from this video, take this: it can never be selfish for you to choose yourself above others. What else are you supposed to do? I mean, obviously if you have like a kid or whatever, then that's kind of different, but you get what I mean. And even then, you should always choose yourself first, in the sense that fill your cup first before you try to fill anybody else's, because you cannot fill from an empty cup. Just like, think about when you're on the airplane and they're doing their whole, if there's a crash or anything happening, put on your mask first before you put on anybody else's. That doesn't make you selfish if you want to put on your mask before your 2-year-old. Like, you don't put your mask on and you're both there suffocating because you can't help yourself or help them. Like, make that make sense. So it can never be selfish for you to put yourself first, no matter what it is. Like, everything else comes second to you, because obviously there are other circumstances and I'm not a wife or a mother, so maybe take my word with a grain of salt, but I hope it makes sense at the same time. The next thing is this, which is what I made mention before. Being alone does not mean that you have to be lonely. It really doesn't. And it takes some work, it takes some like consistent time being alone. And start with 5 minutes of being alone today, just saying, this is my me time, this is what I'm doing for myself. Focus on myself. I don't want to think about anything else or do anything with anybody or go anywhere with anybody or hear from anybody. Just have 5 minutes, whether that's meditation or doing some mindful exercises, working on your mindset, whatever it is. Take 5 minutes today just being alone. Then tomorrow take 6, then take 8, then take 10, then take 15, then take 30, until you realize, oh, I can go hours or days being alone without feeling lonely, because they don't necessarily have to be the same thing. And then there's the social stigma. What is my mother going to think? Oh my gosh, what is my friend going to think? What are my sisters and my brothers going to think if I decide that I'm going to disappear from the world for 2 days? It's a weekend. Chill and take what you need in order to fill your own cup, in order to find your own peace, because I'm sure if it was up to them and they needed to find their happiness, find their peace, find their calm, they wouldn't care about anything else. Stop making societal norms or what you think people are going to say or think or do affect the things that you know that you need to do in order to become your best self or to be there for yourself. Every single day, bar none, I get talked to about the fact that my phone is always on do not disturb. It's on do not disturb right now because I'm filming. I don't want to be filming and I'm getting a video call from here, a stray call from there, I'm getting a WhatsApp from here, I'm getting an Instagram from here, Facebook there. I don't need all of that. I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing right now, and if I'm working or I'm sleeping or I'm trying to meditate or do my devotion, whatever it is, and I need some time away from everything else and I just need some focus time, I'm sorry, my phone is going on do not disturb. If I am feeling overstimulated or I just need some time to process whatever it is, whenever I feel like it, my phone is going on do not disturb. So here I have 4 actionable tips that you can use in order to start embracing solitude. If this is a weird concept for you, you've never tried it before, or you want to get better at it. The first one I just mentioned, feel free to shut your devices off when you need some time alone. Like, literally just do that. Even if it's just 10 minutes, turn your phone off or leave it in one room and you go in another, whatever it is. Put it on silent if you don't want to shut it off, like whatever it is that you need to do. For me, I have mine on a schedule, so at a specific time at night it turns off. It goes on sleep, do not disturb, whatever, and it turns on automatically in the morning. Nothing I hate more than having my morning routine and I'm trying to have a slow morning and I get a bad text or some bad news that ruins my entire day. Like, I need to know that I can get through my morning routine, set my intentions, and be in a positive, mindful, grateful, happy place before I even check any notifications, because that's something that I need for myself. That doesn't make it selfish. So that's my first tip. If you have a schedule that's super busy, ensure that you have some me time set apart. So even if it's 10 minutes per day or an hour per week, whatever it is, whatever you can manage to do without, you know, your life falling apart, do that. And whatever me time means to you, do that. If it's watching a movie, because you don't get to do that often, if it's taking a nap or going to sleep for 12 hours one day because you need rest, if it's going to a spa, or if it's doing a spa day at home or doing some self-care routine, whatever it is, ensure that you are having that me time. It could be going for a walk, for all I care. Like, whatever me time means for you, ensure that you have those scheduled in and everyone around you knows that it's my me time. I'm not taking any calls, I'm not doing anything for anybody, I'm not talking to anybody. Whatever it is that you need to do, set those boundaries. And next thing that you could do to start enjoying that solitude time alone is to re-engage or get back into doing whatever hobbies you like. So whatever hobbies or activities that you like that you haven't had time to do, start setting aside time for that. It could be in your me time or it could be separate and apart. Just ensure that, okay, if you like art, decide that you're going to do art by yourself in a forest once per month, whatever it is, but ensure that you're doing things that you like so that you can reconnect with your inner self, your inner child, if you may. This one is another great one that I only started recently in a sense, but it is practicing mindfulness and or meditation. So for me, mindfulness, doing something for my mind, is one of 3 things these days. Well, 4 things if you count my like spiritual stuff. But spiritual stuff, I try to do some meditation where I just sit in silence and whatever comes up comes up, whatever doesn't, or I go for a walk, or I do some reading, or I listen to a podcast, the Mel Robbins podcast or the Mindset Mentor. Those are my top 2 right now. But as I mentioned, ensure that when you are spending that alone time, you're not focusing on being alone, you're not focusing on loneliness per se, but you are being mindful, you are cultivating that inner peace that you're trying to search for. So whether that means journaling, which I do quite often too, it kind of brings up a lot of thoughts and feelings that you didn't even realize was buried somewhere deep, or whether it's deep breathing exercises, or as I mentioned, meditation, or just going for a walk in nature without your devices. Whatever that means for you, just ensure that there's a way for you to find that calm and tap into your inner peace. During this time, it actually like fosters a lot of self-reflection, which I feel is the best way for you to actually grow. Without awareness, how do you know what you need to fix or what you need to work on or what you need to build or strengthen? So having that moment or that time of self-reflection during your journaling or your deep breathing, your meditation, your walks, whatever it is a great way for you to really tap in and make use of that moment, that me time, that solitude, that alone time. And of course, if any of this scares you or freaks you out, or you're like, oh my gosh, my brain is going 5,000 thoughts per second because I've never been alone before with my thoughts, then try to do them in small batches. So if you can't meditate for an hour like a monk or whatever, sit down for 5 minutes and start there, and then add on to that, as I mentioned before. If you can't go without your phone for hours at a time, do it for 5 minutes, do it for 30 minutes and see how that feels, and then you add on to that. Now the title of this video is Get Comfortable Being Alone, so that you can find inner peace and be more confident, build confidence, or whatever it is that I said. Now we've talked a lot about the inner peace, but how does this help with confidence exactly? For me, I believe that confidence is showing up for yourself and getting that feeling that, okay, I can do hard things, I can do all these things because I've proven that I can, you know. So one of the first steps I believe in getting that confidence is self-discovery. And self-discovery comes through self-reflection, which makes you sit down and realize that this is how I am, this is how I think, this is how I feel, and this is why I feel those ways or think those ways. And now I know, I understand better, I know how to show up better for myself. And that's like the first layer or foundation for building that self-confidence. Not only that, but it also builds a sense of independence. Being able to be alone, be comfortable alone, helps you to realize that you don't really need everybody else around you for validation or to be happy or to be at peace or to feel whatever it is that you need to feel in your life. And so it kind of builds that self-reliance, which also boosts your self-esteem, then boosting your confidence. You remember when I mentioned that being alone actually helps you with being creative, which means that it also helps with your skill development. And the better you are at a skill, the more confident you are in the work that you produce or whatever it is that you do, because you're like, yeah, I was here, now I'm here, and I'm pretty good because I spent the time working on this skill or whatever it is. Being alone can also help social anxiety and just more resilience. Like, being alone for the first couple times that you decide to do it will be the most uncomfortable thing that you've ever done, but being able to push through and actually get to the other end where it's peaceful, it's comfortable, it's calming, will kind of help you to be more confident in social environments or with yourself overall, especially when you are faced with like new environments, new experiences, or just other social situations, because you're comfortable in yourself, you're confident in your ability to be alone. And so being around people, you don't have to overthink, oh my gosh, does this person like me, is this weird, did I say this thing that I wasn't supposed to? All of that kind of goes away, and that's how you start building your confidence. And as I mentioned, all of this happens through consistently showing up for yourself and doing these things that you say you're going to do. The more you prove to yourself that you are trustworthy, you can do hard things, you can do the things that you say you're going to do, even if they are hard, even if they're uncomfortable, is the more you build trust with yourself. And the more you build trust with yourself is the more confident you are in the way that you show up. So yeah, that's all I have for this video. I hope you guys learned something new. If you did, then let me know what's your biggest takeaway or your biggest aha moment from this video down below in the comment section. I hope to see you guys next week with another upload, but until then, just remember to do something today that will help you to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. Like, you know, spending time with yourself and actually figuring out what the heck is going on in your head. Do some journaling or something. But yeah, see y'all next week.